All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to an individual set to compete at Rumble in the Cage 63, and that goes down October the 1st. It's a heavyweight clash. Matt Heim and Lee Meehan getting out there into the cage to test skills with one another, and it's always good getting to chat with Lee a little bit there, and just, how's it going, Lee? How's your day progressing so far?
It's going awesome. Yeah, just doing runaround stuff for the Rumble. A lot of sponsors want to get VIP tables for the show and stuff like that, so just helping them out. And on this event, we're actually raising money for Big Brothers Big Sisters for the Lethbridge chapter. So it's just great to be able to give back to the community and help out in any way we can.
Yeah, I feel like Rumble in the Cage has always been great with that. Like, I think there was, if memory serves, a special Olympics check that was donated on one of the shows that I was at there. Like, how important is, community outreach and just being interwoven into the local community and helping out?
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, shows are hard to make money on doing shows as it is, but I just think it's important that as martial artists that we want to be valuable members of the community, and I think that's what we should do. We should stand up for the rights of people, and we have the ability to protect people, and want to give back in every way we can. So these organizations, whether it's Special Olympics, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and all the different great groups that are out there, they don't have a lot of funding for what they're doing for the people in the community. So if we can help out in any way and help alleviate some of their pressure for programs and bills, then it's great to be able to give back that way.
Yeah, and it's a great-looking card, as always. A lot of fun-looking bouts, for sure. The Tim Tamaki, Josh Kwiatkowski featherweight title bout looks like a fun one. Jackie McLean, Shannon Clark looks like a great fight. And, so many great fights put together. I mean, and I still, kind of marvel at the fact that you're, fighting on these cards and simultaneously kind of promoting them and stuff like that. But can you speak to just, the overall kind of card for this one? Because it seems like a good Rumble in the Cage breakdown.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. A lot of fights, I like guys that are willing to fight. No matter what their record is, no matter who they're fighting, they just want to fight. And that always is the most entertaining fights, in my opinion. No one's trying to protect their record and, fight safe because of whatever, trying to get somewhere. I've had lots of guys from my show make it to UFC and other big shows, but I have a ton of guys who just bring it every time and are entertaining. Out-of-town guys that come fight, and to our local fighters, they just want to put on a good show and entertain people, and that's what it's about. People pay good money for their tickets, and we want them to leave knowing that, man, we have 19 fights confirmed, all banging fights, and it's going to be a great night.
Yeah, and you talk about that kind of explosivity in the matchups and just the individual pursuit certain fighters take. Is that something that Matt Heim kind of brings to the table in this matchup? Does he kind of bring that sort of fervor that you're kind of laying down there?
Yeah, Matt's been bugging me for a while to get another fight on my show. He's always showing up and fought. So, for him, he's kind of just came to me and said, hey, I want to have one last fight kind of before I retire. He's got a family now and has his own company. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And I was looking for someone to fight me. Haven't, fought in Lethbridge for a long time now, especially with all the COVID break we've had. And his losses are coming to guys that, take him down, tap him out, because he doesn't have my ground game. He's got the kickboxing background. So I've made him a gentleman's agreement that we'll do an MMA fight, but we'll stand and bang, and if it does go to the ground, we'll stand back up and we'll bang some more. So it's going to be a crowd pleaser, and it's always risky, and he's always one punch away from getting finished, especially in heavyweight. If I was fighting a smart fight, I would say, well, I'll just take him down, because I have a better ground game than he has. But I get where he's coming from and what he's looking for in his career, and looking to have fun one last time, and I'm just fighting for fun anyways, right? So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's put on a show. Let's bang it out for the crowd, and someone's going to get knocked out, and it's going to be a blast. So.
Oh, that's kind of cool. So this is sort of his swan song almost. He's looking to have one last banger with Lee Meehan and kind of ride off into the proverbial sunset.
Yeah, I think so. We've been friends for a long time, and he knows I'm a gamer, and I know he's always showing up and fought hard, even when he's lost. So, I say let's make it happen, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, like when you mentioned the grappling in the sense, like, oh yeah, if I wanted to fight like a quote unquote smart fight, just kind of take it to the ground and kind of go to that sort of realm. Like I feel like Grayson Wells was kind of talking about that and like recollecting the fight you guys had with each other. Like he's just like, oh hell, like this big bastard's getting a grab of me, and like in a bit of a compromised spot to say the very least. Like I felt like his jiu-jitsu, per his estimation, wasn't like quite to the level he needed to defend the position.
Yeah, and I had intentions with that fight as well, because I kind of want to fight guys at their strengths, because that's what's fun for me, right? So I know he's a striker, a Muay Thai guy, and I wanted to stand and bang with him. And then when I clipped him, he clinched up with me against the fence. And I've been working the Ezekiel choke a lot in training. So I thought, oh, it's here. I'll just put it on. He'll probably escape, and we'll disengage, and we'll start striking again. Well, then I got it in nice and deep, and then, it choked him unconscious there for a bit. And so it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to be. We're both swinging away at each other, but it was fun. And, again, he's a great guy, and then we're friends. I actually cornered him for his last fight, and that's what this sport's about to me. It's sharing opportunities and share the cage with people and getting to know guys better and building that bond and that friendship that lasts a lifetime. So I'm looking forward to more of those.
Yeah, I love the attitude there, and then keeping it in that like grappling sort of context. I thought it was cool seeing you over at like the World Masters, like the IBJJF Jiu-Jitsu Championship just a bit ago there, like early September. It looked like that was going on. Like, how was that whole experience? I saw you put that you lost your first match on points, but it seemed like a takedown, hold position kind of scenario. Like, what was the whole experience like there?
Yeah, it was good. I went a few years ago before COVID and had a really good time, and went, okay, whoever gets in the heavyweight division, Masters 5 that I'm in, weight, age, black belts, whoever got the takedown won the match. Even though guys were trying to submit each other and the guys were trying to escape, everyone's skill is so good, it just cancels everything out. And no one really got out of a bad spot, and they end up losing on points. So I was kind of thinking, well, whoever gets the first takedown, has a good chance of winning. So the guy surprised me with a great drop center nag he got me with, and I was trying to get his back, but he secured my arm, so I couldn't get it. So I got back to guard, and I kept attacking, and he really just hugged onto my gi and held on, and actually laid starfish for a bit, and he still wouldn't attack or try and submit me or nothing. So eventually I was like, oh, man, I got to start working to get out of here, because he's not, I was going to wait to go when he attacked, and he wasn't doing anything. So I did what I could, bridge, shrimp, pendulum swings, everything to get back to my feet, which I finally did. But then it was a 5-minute match, so the round was over once we got back to our feet, like with 10 seconds left or whatever. So, he got his 2 points and he won, and, so be it. That's the rules, right? So you got to play to those rules, and if you don't like the rules, don't compete or adapt, right? And so I just enjoy it. I enjoy competing, and I had fun. A great trip. 9,000 competitors at Master World. So just a cool experience to be there, and you see the skill level of the younger guys and the things they're doing. And it's pretty impressive. And, just being a part of it. And, Jen Wolstenholme from my gym, she runs my front desk and runs the business for me. And she competed and she got third. Did a great job. So it's just a good experience. And I always look for any chance I can challenge myself at any style of combat sport. I want to do it. So I think once the MMA thing is kind of past, whatever that point is, with injuries and whatnot, then I'll probably compete even more in jiu-jitsu and have fun with that area. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's such a great time for both like gi and no gi competition. It seems like just with the backdrop of like the recent like ADCC championships taking place. Like, I mean, Gordon Ryan and I felt like Cade Ruotolo had some really big like show out performances. So yeah, great time for submission grappling, whether gi or no gi. It seems like.
Yeah, it's awesome. Love how to see the sport's growing, and there's more Muay Thai shows going on, and so guys can play in that field. And then for us MMA guys, it's great because we're trying to be good at everything, and so it's nice to go to a kickboxing fight, a Muay Thai fight, go to a grappling tournament, and then do some MMA in there and just keep developing skills and meeting people. And every little circuit has its own little, clique. The Muay Thai kickboxing people, and then the jiu-jitsu people, they're kind of separate worlds, but some of them cross over because of the gyms they train at, but not many compete in both. And so being MMA guys, it's nice to, I get to go to the Muay Thai shows. I know all those guys. I get to go to JIS tournaments and know all those guys. And then you go to MMA and you know those guys. And some are the same, but, some are very different crowds, fan bases, everything, right? So I just love the position I'm in the sport to be able to be involved in all of it.
Yeah, and this might come as like a bit of a random question. It's kind of escaping my mind who I was talking to about this recently, but I was kind of talking about the dimensions of the rumble in the cage framework that the guys fight in. Like, what are the dimensions of the rumble in the cage relative to like maybe some other promotions' cages? Are my eyes kind of deceiving me? It seems a little more compact.
Yes, it's definitely probably the smallest cage out there for fighting. It's a 20 by 20 cage. And most of the smaller shows are 25 by 25. Then UFC has the big one, their 32-foot cage, and Bellator is 28 feet or 30 feet, something like that. So definitely the Rumble is a smaller cage, which again, which I like for a lot of reasons. One, it fits in any venue, which is great. I had that one custom built, and it's made out of aluminum, so I know if I have to tear it down by myself with my old rickety body, I can still do it. It's not too heavy, which is good. But it forces the fight. And actually, UFC, WC, and all that, they did a bunch of studies about the finishing rate for fights based on the cage side. And they traced back to their WEC shows and Strike Force, and because they bought all those shows up, so they could look at all the numbers, and they showed that the smaller cages have a higher finishing rate than the larger cage. And as a fight fan, that's interesting to know, because you want to see the finish. You don't want to go to judges, and fighters don't want to go to judges. So when you're fighting in a smaller arena, the cage is smaller, the ring is smaller, whatever. It forces you to fight more. There's less room to run around or avoid, and that makes it more intense. And you're right there, and that makes it exciting. The crowd can get closer, because the cages are so big. You know what I mean? So I just really enjoy it. I enjoy the small cage. Not that I wouldn't go to a bigger cage for production wise and getting a jib arm in there for a camera and stuff like that. You need a bigger cage for that stuff. But as far as the fans go and the fighters go, I think it's the best when you're fighting in a small cage.
Yeah, because when I was talking about it before, I was like, I'd be curious to go over the Rumble in the Cage finishing rate, just because it's like the longest running promotion in Canadian history, and in conjunction with the dimensions of the cage. So yeah, definitely thought that was interesting for sure. But I do want to be mindful of your time and the rest of your schedule too there, Lee. So to that point, is there maybe anything you might want to add as a parting thought as we're kind of wrapping up here?
No, just, it's going to be a great night. I got, like I said, 19 fights, so I hope there's lots of finishes, because I've never gone more than, 4.5 hours, 5 hours for a show. Even with 19 fights, I've done that many times. I know a lot of shows run 5 hours long and only have 8 fights. So best bang for your buck for the fans. You can get your tickets at rumbleinthecage.com. There's still general admission tickets left. The VIP tables are all sold out. So yeah, get your tickets. It's going to be aired. The pay-per-view will be on fight.tv. So for those guys across the country and all over the world that want to watch it and watch some exciting amateur fights and exciting pro fights, they can click on that and watch it on fight.tv and, support a good cause.
Yeah, so many cool facets, and I've seen Rumble in the Cage both live and on pay-per-view, and it's a great night of entertainment either way. But yeah, no, I appreciate again you coming on the show as always, man. So big shout out in that regard. Looking forward to checking out the fight here, and just you also have a good rest of your day there, Lee.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.